Mhm. Hello, everybody. This is Kathleen with Tree Sisters Creative Interviews, and I'm here with Barbara Newman. Hi, Barbara.
Hi, Kathleen. How are you?
I'm good. It's so good to
Nice,
have you here.
nice to see you again. Really lovely.
Yeah, we've been talking and going on about your book for so long now, and we'll get into that. But you've had quite a journey bringing this book, birthing this book, and bringing it to life. So we'll talk all about that, and these past couple of years and everything that has transpired through that. But this book has been a journey for you, and I think that you're an inspiration. It's a book for for our younger selves, as well as the young women and the young girls that are growing up today. And it brings us in touch with nature and with earth in so many sacred ways. So I'm so excited to let you talk about it. I want to read your bio a little bit so that I can give everybody sort of a foundation of who you are. And then later on, I just want to let everybody know that you're going to read a passage from the book. So I'm very excited about that. Uh,
Thank you so much. Thank you.
we have wonderful tree sisters and very creative beings as part of our community. So this is a joy for me to do all the time. So we have it here. Barbara is a storyteller, writer, documentary filmmaker, earth protector, and mom. She is an advocate for girls finding their strong, authentic voices. Yes. And how the power of sisterhood can change the world. And, we say that at Tree Sisters all the time. Prior to becoming an author, Barbara was an award-winning creative director on global brands. After hearing a story on NPR about the American Cowgirl, she was inspired. She left the ad world and found herself in Montana, Wyoming, and Utah, filming a documentary about their lives. She interviewed strong, resilient, and courageous women, and out of that experience, developed a girls' leadership workshop based on the principles of cowgirl spirit. Barbara was also part of the think tank for the inception of the Fred Rogers Center for Early Learning and Children's Media. She lives in Berkshire of Western Massachusetts. I always tricky saying that, where you can find her walking on the riverbanks, roaming forest, or stoking a fire under the stars. It's a pleasure to welcome you today, Barbara.
Thank you so much. I love Tree Sisters. I learned about them about 5 years ago through the Tree Sister Grove here in the Berkshires with Annie Crowfitt, and met Claire here, and it was a delight. So I've been following you and planting trees and learning about trees and the forest. And Claire has been such an inspiration for me, even for my writing. So
Yeah,
it feels
absolutely.
good to be here. I feel like I'm coming home a little bit. Yeah,
Yeah, isn't that a good feeling? I
it
know.
is a good feeling. Yeah.
I feel that's true, and I feel like we're family. Like there, it feels that way too. Everyone that's in this community, and Claire has beautiful things to say about your book. In fact, on the cover of the book, she says that it is a true piece of art, and among other things. And I agree. I agree. It is just so beautifully written, and you can, everything comes to life in your descriptions, and there's so much sacred love for earth in it that you're just continuously moved. And I can only imagine, like, throughout the book I kept wishing in a way that I had that book when I was younger, to be able to have that way of looking at what's possible, what we're possible of, and how we're actually connected to everyone and every living thing in the web of life. And it would have been a really welcome uh, story for me when I was younger. So I'm really happy. Like, I have two daughters myself, like we were just talking about, and I get really happy when I see things that will help to enhance their education of life, you know, their knowledge, their wisdom. And this is one of those. This is one of those. So the dream catcher codes, right?
Yeah.
Um, it I want you to tell us all about, like, how long is this? You know, it's been a journey, like I was saying, for you to birth this. And so I'm just going to leave it up to you to talk about what that has been like, what this has meant for you, who you've connected with, and to actually bring this to life.
Okay, that's a very good question. You had mentioned that I was a documentary filmmaker, and I had been working on a beautiful series on the American Cowgirl, and we had come to a crossroads. We lost our funding, a great portion of funding, and I had to decide what was I going to do. And I didn't decide it. Spirit came to me, and I had a dream that I was standing in the desert with an animal skin on my back. It's very similar to the cover of the book, which is here, if you can see it. And
Yes.
I was in that landscape, that beautiful desert landscape, and the sun was going down, and the colors were that, purple and golden and orange. And it was a mesmerizing feeling just standing there, a total sense of peace. And my feet were planted in the sand inside a mandala. And the mandala was the actual logo of the Cowgirls Are Forever film project. And the wind came and whipped it away. It spiraled up into the air. Detachment, right? And it came down to me in another form, in the form of a book. And I said, okay, so that's a clear message for me. I listen to messages. I listen to messages from nature, from dreams, from all kinds of things, animals, spirits. And it felt to me like, okay, I need to go and write a book. And I didn't want to write a book about cowgirls, but I started thinking about what are the things that I really care about. Well, I care about girls finding their voices. I care about the environment. Those are the two things that I'm most passionate about. And all of a sudden, these images came to me of horses with manes made out of golden eagle feathers for vision, right? And I saw four girls coming together from the four directions, and they were each powered by earth, air, fire, water, and messages from these dream catchers. I started seeing dream catchers and crystals and all kinds of images. And I said, I started pulling together in a vision board. So I put all of these photographs, labyrinths, and everything that I had, crystal grids and all of these things that really actually came from the earth, and put them on a wall. And I used that for inspiration. So that became another kind of altar for me, a sacred space to create. And my son walked into the room and he said, "Oh, Mom, are you doing a graphic novel?" And I said, "No, I like words too much. I like words." So I began to write the story, and I realized that, what I was missing was really, yes, I've gone camping and I've gone on walks in the forest and I've, gone to the oceans and all of that, but I really hadn't at that time communed with the land. So I felt like I need part of my research for this book was to stand on the red rock and listen to what she had to say, be with the bones of the mother, be in the kind of, the eucalyptus forest that I hadn't been in, and really experience through the seasons and through the change and through observation, what Mother Earth could teach me. So that I could be a voice for her in this story. And so I did a lot of traveling. I have a very supportive life partner. 33 years we've been married, and he said, go, just go, 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 do what you have to do, you know? And so I became very inspired by the land. I met a number of Indigenous people who took me in and taught me things that I never would have. They were just so generous with their time and their insights and their wanting to share the ways of their culture, which was very important. Diversity is also very important to me. So my 4 girls are very different. I have a biracial Jewish girl from New York who talks to the Lakota girl about shared intergenerational pain, Holocaust, the genocides, stripping of tribal identities, all of that. And in so doing, they realize that they are not all that different. And are we really all that different? No. I mean, we live in a diverse world, plants, the animals and humans too. So it's all of the same place.
Yes.
So the land is another character with many different faces. And so I just sat and I parked myself in the chair and I said no to a lot of things. I am a social person. I like exploring, but I had to say, no, this is my work now. This is really my life. And I gave my life to this work for a long time. So it was 7 years from, it's not interesting, 7 years from idea to actual holding the book in my hand, a published book. And
Number 7, yeah.
yeah. So yeah, there was a lot to this, and sensitivity readers. It was very important that I got it right, because there was I have to, appropriation is so important.
Right.
And so it was interesting last week on Indigenous Day, National Indigenous Day, International Indigenous. I met with someone from the tribe that used to live on the land that I live on now.
Wonderful.
And the Stockbridge Munsee Band, and from the Mohican tribe. And I said to him, I said, Sean, I said, I hope I got this right. I said, I worked very hard to get it right, but if I didn't, I really apologize. And he said to me, Barbara, if it's from the heart, it's right. Yeah. And, I mean, yeah. So that felt really good. Really good.
It's such an honoring that you gave to him, and all of the research you've done. It's so deep, the work that you've done for this book, that it can be nothing but pivotal in people's lives when they, because of that energy that you wove into it, and instead of just writing a fantasy, you wanted to be true to it.
Yeah, and we were talking about that earlier. This is a fantasy. It's an eco fantasy. It's kind of like, Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants meets Avatar in a way, because sisterhood, and that's another thing, sisterhood is a very big theme in this book. These are 4 girls who come together. They are very different, and together they're stronger. Together they have to figure it out. Together they have to stand in and find their individual and unique power. And know when to ebb and flow with that power, know when to give their sister the chance to shine. Right? So important. So important. So sisterhood is a big theme, and diversity. And I lost my train of thought, which I often
I know, that's
bring me back.
Yeah, what I'm just feeling and hearing in this, there's so many lessons, like layers, even before, we started to record this, I could have continued to talk to you because about the book and what messages and lessons can be gleaned from it. I mean, for a young woman, for an older woman, for anybody, actually. It doesn't even have to be male, or a female or whatever. It is, it's sort of, earthly, it's global. There's something about it that speaks to every piece of who we are as humanity, and that's what I really appreciated about it. And hearing, and knowing all of the honoring and sacred moments that you spent with this, with this theme of, you know, uh, girls, expanding girls' voices, but also what is the voice of nature? What is the voice of earth that
What
wants?
is the voice of nature, right? I mean, one of the girls, one of my characters has a guitar that was handed down from her great great Aunt Rosa. And it is a guitar with 7 strings, not 6. And the 7th string, it has a certain earth vibration, so to speak, right? And so it's really the vibration of love. I mean, this really is a love story, and I open the book, I dedicated, I say it's my love letter to Mother Earth and all of her daughters. And I really do feel that way. I feel like this is a gift to her, because I really see her, and I see her joy, and I feel her pain, and I see the tears, and she's talking to us. She's really talking to us, and she's saying, please listen, please listen. So I feel that, I don't know, I feel like this is my gift. This is what I have to offer the world.
Yeah.
And I look at it as a gift. I do. I look at it as a gift.
Yeah, and it absolutely is. I mean, I love, well, me, but the voice of Mother Nature that comes through us, I feel, is our creative impulse, and when people say this isn't, they're not an artist or things like that, I'm the very first to say, like, please stop saying that, because when
Yeah,
is Mother Nature and the spirit of of our collective, the Anamanda, to come
I
together.
was just going to say, and I talk about that in the book. I do, and what's interesting is there are a lot of concepts in this book that seem super sophisticated for a young person.
Mm.
Like I talk about the tree of life. I talk about the concept of chai, which is life in Hebrew. I mean, these are the codes. These are symbols and things that have been derived over time. But I feel, I don't know. I mean, I just think that there are so many lessons to be learned from being out in nature. For example, this happened to me. I was on a solo hike in New Mexico, and it was a very, very tough hike. And I knew that I had to do it. I just knew that I had to do it. And I took Advil before I went because I knew I really needed to power through.
Yeah.
And I knew it was going to be a physical challenge for me, but I had to do it. I had to face a lot. And at the trailhead, and it's interesting, Terry Tempest Williams told this story during a Bioneers conference in a breakout room, and we were both crying. And I looked down at the trail, and there was an ant, a little tiny ant. And this ant was carrying hundreds of pounds over its weight on its back. And it was just going up the trail, going up and up and up. And I looked at it and I said, thank you.
Mm.
Perseverance. If this little creature can do this, I can do this too. So those are just like the little things, you know. And then like in the rock, I saw faces of lost souls. I saw, you know, a man, a woman, a chief, whatever it was. And these are all things that I've studied over the years. I've studied, you know, plant medicine and crystal grids and music, you know, sound therapy and the vibration of sound and what that can do. So it all somehow ended up in the book.
The
But
book.
those little things like, you know, the rock people,
Yeah.
right? And the ant. And coming down from that hike, I had run out of water. And I don't know what made me do it, but I literally I put my mouth on my arm and I tasted the salt
Mm-hmm.
from my dried sweat.
Right.
And it was almost this intuitive thing to do. I didn't, who would know to do that? But as I was literally sucking on my arm, I felt like I was nourishing my body and that the dehydration was going away. And I imagined, oh, I bet the women who walked before me did that too.
Yes.
It's very powerful.
It's very powerful. And, there's so much that we have yet to discover like that, about even about our own bodies, but also, what that nature is holding those memories and holding that wisdom
Memories.
for us, like holding it, waiting for us to just, ask and to listen. And you do that and you show how to do that through the young heart, the fresh eyes that
The
also
fresh eyes.
gives
Yeah.
us that opportunity for ourselves as, because, I read it and like I said, like at some point I merged with my younger self and it didn't matter anymore. And it was what was important for me in that moment. That's what I received, no matter. That's why I say it doesn't really matter who you are, what your age or gender or anything is. It really transcends that in a way about the wisdom that is,
Earth wisdom belongs to all of us.
yeah,
If
and
we only take the time
take the
to
time.
notice, to notice, you know, to be aware of our awareness, which is inherent in all of us.
Yeah.
We all have it if we just stopped for a minute.
Yeah,
You
like
know?
just finding our place in the universe and realizing that we are part of it and that everything that we're doing is part of it, helping it to survive. And what we're receiving, it should be natural,
Right.
to just give back. And, that's what Tree Sisters is all about.
Absolutely.
It's the reciprocal nature. And I just feel for sure, it especially with books like this that are um, about, young girls, it helps to think that there is a new way that we are moving into. And I think this book is part of that new way. And I'm just so happy that you listened, even though, and you took your time to listen, and that your partner said, yes, listen, and there was all these yeses and support in your life, because this is the voice that is needed, to go out into the world, to keep this going, to move us forward, to
To move us forward. And you know, I do say about this, you know, I because this is what happened to me. I mean, I started looking at, I mean, I looked at the zinnia
mm,
and the sacred geometry of the zinnia. I
yeah,
mean, the architect of the world is nature,
right,
right? And this perfect sacred geometry, and how the puffer fish
mm,
goes down to the bottom of the ocean and moves the sand into this perfect form so that it becomes a nest for the female's eggs to safely stay and not be swept away by the currents. There was so much research in this.
That's so beautiful. I never knew that. And I didn't hear that about the pufferfish, but I've always felt that call to sacred geometry. It is everything, and it's even in the unseen, that it exists. I feel like when two people come together, or when a book is birthed, or when there's a conversation happening, I can actually feel like, okay, that's where the two lines just connected, and it's sort of like a spark. Maybe what the pufferfish knows when it's time to wiggle the tail. Now it's time to stop. Now it's time to wiggle the tail. And he's trusting, you know,
Yes,
he's,
it's
he's trusting the flow.
magical.
Yeah. No, I never heard that before. And I love that. I think this, I mean, we could talk about this forever. I want everybody to read it. I want everybody to share it with the girls in their lives. I definitely will with my girls, and my girls and the girls I know, and the boys too, because I really do feel that is the important thing now is, for me, is like, let's let everybody know what we're up to, and things are
Yeah.
shifting.
And they
They're-
are shifting. They are.
They
They
really
are.
are. And I want to go into look at some of the pictures that were some of your inspirations. Sophia Rose, the mentor, and I want you to talk about her as the heroine or guardian, mentor of this. And also, I want to show the cover of the book that I have here, and also want to get to you reading a passage from that. But I also firstly want to just thank you right here, and let everybody know also that, you want to, donate trees through this book. And
Yes, I do.
so
Very
there,
important to me. Yes.
and so that's, like talking your talk, walking your talk, however that goes, but that's that reciprocity. It's like you just expressed how you gleaned all of this information from just that one walk. And I know that there's many, and maybe that will be a book. Just how you brought this together could be a book, and your experience of doing that. And you're saying, okay, yeah, like you're not going to stop at like, oh yeah, this will be a good seller. Now it's out there. I can't wait till it's sold and I can, make this money and be famous or whatever it is. It's a completely
That's the point.
different.
Yeah, you know that. We've talked about this. I mean, that's wasn't why I wrote this.
No,
I
and that,
had to write this. I was called to write this.
yeah, tell us about that. Like, tell us about that impulse that makes you have to do something like that. Like, what is that? What is that energy? Can you explain?
Oh. Um, it's really like, what it feels like when you fall in love. It's that, you just can't stay away, right?
Ah,
You have to be with that person. Your world revolves around, that moment of, sort of, it's almost like a conception. It really is almost like conception. And there were days when it was very hard to write, but I had to show up at the page every single day. I am a big fan of morning pages.
yeah, yeah,
And just to sort of clear things out. And every once in a while, I'll get like a word or two or three, and I'll say, oh, that's what I'm supposed to write about today.
yeah. Morning pages from the Artist Way is always, that, gosh, when was that written? It's
Oh gosh, I think in the 70s, maybe.
yeah,
A long time ago, a
a long
long
time ago.
time on, yeah.
And it was
And
streaming of the writing, and especially when you wake up in the morning, when you wake up fresh to start your day, it just makes so much sense, and nothing has ever replaced that.
nothing, no. And I mean, I'm still in bed when I write them. I have my journal and I just scribe, and whatever comes out, comes out. And it's sometimes I can't even read my own writing. Most of the time, I
Yeah.
can't read my
Yeah.
own handwriting.
It was true.
But it's out there, and it also clears your head of all the stuff and, the emotional stuff that's going on in your life with your children and the world. And so it kind of creates space.
It does, absolutely. We have, otherwise we have a lot of things going on. You know, the other thing, and I just want to mention it because we did talk about relaxing our tongue and different things about the tongue for yoga and I earlier. The other thing that relaxes and clears your head is to relax your tongue. And I have learned this not too long ago, just a couple months ago, I think actually, and I've been bringing it to every session that I have with everyone. But it is because your tongue is waiting always on the ready, like a little soldier. It's waiting to say the stuff that's going on up here.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Right? So yeah, we don't even
Yes.
realize it. The minute I heard that, I thought, oh my goodness, that's exactly like, and then once you know you do that, you just start to relax your tongue. It feels really weird to think about your tongue in that way. But then all of a
I'm
sudden,
doing it now. I'm doing it, yeah.
and then your neck starts to relax and you're
Like
like,
opening, it's like an opening of your mouth. It's fun. I have a little English bulldog and his tongue is always,
there he goes. Yeah. So he's hardly ever thinking.
he's so, I'm watching him and he's just always so relaxed.
That's it. That's what it is. And then the mind can, just, continue whatever it's doing, but your body's not actively hooked to it through your tongue. And then you can just drop into your heart so much easier. So
That's
I just wanted
cool.
to put
I'm
that up.
going to use that. I'm going to use that. Yeah.
Put it in your book. Put it in your next book. All right. So here's the cover. I love this, and I'm going to have to scroll up and down in order to see the whole thing. But I love this. I love Mary Lyons. I had the opportunity to meet her and be with her through a water ceremony that I did. So I was
Oh,
really happy to see
wonderful.
imagination, adventure, and hope rest within these pages. That is like, that's all you really need to say. And I would buy this book because, you've got it all right there. Everything we need these days, the dream catcher codes. Isn't this beautiful with the dream catcher coming through the sun? And then there she is on her horse, just looking out into the vista and what's possible, like your journey.
Yeah.
It-
Yeah, it was, I wasn't sure about the cover actually. I wasn't quite sure, but then I was convinced by a number of people saying, no, that's your cover. So
yeah.
I had a few, but it is, she's going into the portal of a new world. And so these girls get messages from the center stone that is in their dream catcher, that was made by Maya's mother. And she's stand in the center woman. She was a maker of dream catchers until she came to a crossroads in her life, because they were being made in other countries and they were not authentic.
Mhm.
So she stopped making them, but made four for these four girls. And the broken piece of the Crystal Horseshoe is in the center. And that's where codes and dreams come to guide them on their journey to find the missing piece, which will save.
Yes, it's a beautiful concept entirely. So this, you tell us about, this is Sophia Rose.
This is, yeah, I had two actual muses. This is Sophia Rose. She is ageless, otherworldly. We don't really know where she comes from, but she has been handed, she is the protector of the Crystal Horseshoe that has been around for, we don't know how long, many, many thousands and thousands of years. Actually, we do find out how long. And this is what, it's really the instruction on how to live.
Mhm.
Right. The codes are the teachings, the wisdom, the earth wisdom teachings, and the indigenous teachings, and the teachings from long, long ago, that if only we had listened.
Right,
Right.
and bringing them all together the way that you weave them
Yeah.
all together is
Yeah.
so powerful these days, that it's time to listen, to weave them together in a way that we can You know,
Braided like sweetgrass,
like
right?
sweetgrass.
These four girls are braided like sweetgrass,
I love
right?
that. I love
You
that.
know, and yeah. So this is interesting. I shared the dream that I had of me standing on the desert with my friend, who is a painter. And a week later, this came in the mail. There was not a white buffalo calf, but in my dream, but is in the dream of one of the girls. Every day, she just, this white buffalo calf thunders by her bedroom window every morning, and she's wondering, is that real? Am I imagining this? Is this real? Like what? You know, and what does that prophecy mean? So there's just, it's got a lot of layers, and this is a painting that I love. It's actually on, you can't really see it. It's on my fireplace mantle in my office. Very special.
Place of honor, I am sure. I'm gonna stop sharing and we're going to I'm gonna put the camera just on you. And can you tell
Oh,
us
I love that. Yes.
what are you gonna
Okay.
be reading?
So I'm going to read the opening of the book. It's only a page. And this sort of sets up the story.
Wonderful.
Sets up the story, okay. We join this story in the moment that the world's first painting of a horse meets its destiny, which is to say that we join an ancient story, a story that travels like a talisman through time into the hands of a woman named Sophia Rose. That painting on the walls of a cave in France shows a wild mane, a strong neck, a lean body outlined in black, legs in motion, hooves off the ground. We view it from a distance of 17,000 years in the moment that a crack in the stone lets a sliver of light seep in. This light illuminates the crystalline deposits on the walls, layers that have built up for millennia. This light, sizzling through the crack, lands on the horse's hoof with a power so intense, sparks ignite like firecrackers, activating a crystal buried underneath. It leaves the smell of apricots. What happens next might stun even those who believe in magic. The crystal, green as an emerald, dislodges from the rock, ricochets across the cave, and falls to the floor. It twists itself, stretches like hot blown glass into the shape of a U, a horseshoe that will change the world. We are not told how it makes its journey around the circle of the earth, touching all the hemispheres, from east to south, west to north, gathering the wisdom of nature, the codes that live in rivers and rock, trees and wind, and the fire of the sun. No human force carries this crystal until it makes its way into the hands of chosen guardians, women who understand the plant and animal kingdoms, secrets and symbols from gods and goddesses, myths and lore that evolve over time. We meet up with it again in North America in the 21st century. This talisman, called the Crystal Horseshoe, named by Gaia, goddess of the earth, is under the protection of Sophia Rose.
Okay, keep going.
And then Sophia is standing on Mount Shasta with moon cleansing as she does month after month. And a terrible storm comes in the form of a cloud, which is really Monsanto in disguise. I never verbalize that, but it's greed, symbolizes greed, the storms, the hurricanes, the tornadoes, and all of the devastation, destruction, and the crystal breaks
Mhm.
and into 6 pieces. And one of them is lost, drops off the face of the mountain. She gathers 5. One of them drops off the face of the mountain, and a giant raven picks it up in its talons, steals it, and flies to the north. And it's lost. And so she knows that she needs help. She's always done it alone, but now she needs sisters. And now it's time to pass this to the younger generation.
What a beautiful, yeah, what a beautiful metaphor for what we are right now and how we do need
Exactly.
each other. And yeah,
Yeah.
I just loved our time together, and I know that everybody else will. And just hearing a little bit of the story is like this. Oh, you just really want to keep on listening. So I hope that everybody can do that and follow along for the whole story, which is very, very inspirational and
Thank
frankly,
you
I
so
think
much.
makes a difference for so many. The one question that I always ask everybody at the end is, what would you like to share with anyone here who has something that they would like to birth like this or bring into the world through the nature's voice, through Earth's voice, through Gaia's voice, through themselves, and just what about that? Well, that can you share some wisdom?
Trust yourself.
Mm,
It's really simple. If you think you have something to say, you do.
mm,
Um, even when you're not so sure, step into your own power as a woman. Whether you're using a paintbrush or writing poetry or singing with your voice, you have something to say, and trust yourself, and just let it happen.
yeah,
Just
trust yourself.
let it be, trust yourself, and just let it grow like a tree. Be like a tree. I mean, it's really so true. I mean, so many times I use the tree as a metaphor to give me strength and to open myself up to the sunlight and say yes, 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 and to be grounded into the soil and get my nourishment from that. It's just this as above, so below. Let it be, let it come.
Let it be, let it come, and trust and be like a tree. Thank you so much, Barbara. It was really lovely being with you. We'll do this again.
So nice.
Wishing you the best with your book. Thank you for
Thank
planting
you.
trees with Tree Sisters. Love
My
you.
pleasure, my joy. Thank you so much. Thank you for this.
Bye, everybody.